Hey team, welcome to this week's episode. I've got something exceptional for you. My team have taken the best 10 minutes from a 90-minute training that I recently delivered on Zoom. This was by far my best training of 2024. And I talk you through the key 3 areas of business. I talk about why your lead generation isn't working and what you need to put into practice in order to be able to get more results in the beginning of 2025.
It's really important in your business journey that you focus on the right activities at the right times. So we all start out with a great big opportunity of thinking, I know I'm going to do this better. I hate my boss. I can think I can do this on my own. And we start this self-employed kind of world. And it's really easy to get stuck at this point. And the 3 main challenges now that I find with people is there's no automated processes. There's a reliance on network systems. You're not leveraging content marketing in the right ways. There's so much misinformation out there in the big wide world about what content marketing is, how it works, and there's no sales funnel. And all a funnel is turning somebody who has said, I'm interested in your service, into an appointment that then turns into business further down the line. And social media has fundamentally changed the way in which marketing works. I'm going to share that with you on the next slide. The second stage of business is when you start to think about recruiting your administrator. You're self-employed. You go and get an admin is probably your first hire, PA, admin, someone to take away the back end work, the administrative stuff. And you move into this lifestyle business phase. And that really is the point where you start to thinking about taking on other salespeople. My third hire was a marketing person, which I think is vital in today's, content creation and social media and lead generation world. But that's where you start to move up a level. But it's really easy to get stuck in this trap in this point in time. You can have a fantastic business. I know 3 advisors that are doing 400,000 to 500,000 a year because they're attracting the right clients with a team of 2 or 3 people. But that hasn't happened overnight. That's taken a series of years and not content creation to make that happen. But at this point, you have to optimize your end-to-end journey. You have to be thinking about how to improve your back end, i.e. how to maximize the value of each and every single client. You also have to be working in a strategy point where every 90 days you're looking and saying, right, what are the things that we need to tick off and achieve in the next 90 days to really move our business forward and really move that needle? And then the third point, which I've been at for a couple of years, is kind of this lifestyle enterprise point where you're focusing more on your team, you're focusing more on your brand, you're focusing more on your data, your KPIs, and you become really a data-driven business. And it's about understanding where you fit into this structure and where you equally are. And it's very easy, particularly at number 1 and number 2, to get trapped. Fear of employment. I had that too. Fear of building in systems to create time because you think you're going to lose time in bringing that in. So number 1, this is really important. And this is kind of a key thing. A lot has changed this year, a lot of which I'm going to share with you. But I've got people who are at lifestyle business phase doing 40 to 80,000 a month that are having to go back and automate processes, not doing any content marketing because they're relying on referrals, recommendations, running ads, and haven't got any way in which they can automatically book calls. So it's very easy to have a successful business, quote unquote, because everyone's got their own definition of success, but it's very easy to have a big business doing lots of turnover, but working very hard and not very smart. This year, we've had the release of AI. Things have changed drastically. So I really want to talk to you about how you can think about your business in 2025. And this is fundamental to understand. In 2006, when I went self-employed, I could buy a life insurance lead, a mortgage lead, in a postcode. And I went for Watford, just inside the M25. I could buy it as a remortgage lead. It used to cost me £30. I would convert 40 to 50% of them, and I would only buy them over 250,000. And you could be so specific. When the credit crunch happened and I went into life insurance, it was £15 a lead. Average commission was 900 quid. We would convert at 30%. And I just built the business based on data. We didn't have great systems. I was working 9 till 9 a hell of a lot. In 2015, I absolutely hated my business, albeit we were doing 6-figure profits. We were nearly at £1 million. I had far too many team for the size of business that we were. But this is really important to understand, because in social media, content marketing, the amount of information that's now available out there online, the world's changed. So out of every 100 leads that you get, 50% of them you have to accept will really never buy. I spoke to a client, or I spoke to an advisor this week. 2,000 leads a month his business generates, spends roughly £70,000 on lead generation, got a team of 50 people. 40% of those never even answer the phone, and yet they are phoning them 5 or 6 times. So we call them the never buyers. They're just not going to worry about it. They're the ones you don't waste your time on, but you still have to, because you've paid for them, go into getting them. Now, what you're probably finding, particularly if you're in phase 1 and phase 2, relying on referrals and recommendations, you probably don't get a lot of that. Like, we have lead sources that we don't get a lot of that because of they're from introducers, they're from partners, they're from estate agents, they're from referrals, recommendations, but those methods are unpredictable. So as you start to move into the realm of social media, content marketing, potentially running ads, this is 100% true. As you start going into then the remaining 50%, you'll find that 85% of that remaining 50 will buy in the next 90 days to 2 years. How many of you, give me a yes in the chat, if you have lots of conversations with people that are preparing for next year's accounts, that are first-time buyers saving for a deposit, that are thinking about doing something in that 90 days to 2 years? Exactly. So these are your future buyers. And that, to do the maths for you, is about 42 to 43 people. So in terms of what's available now out of 100 leads is 15% of that 50, which is about 7 or 8 people. And they are the now buyers. Now, those 15% are going to buy in the next 90 days. This is where so many businesses go wrong. And I did for 10 years. This is the 3% of the market that are ready to buy now. If we start positioning ourselves to attract the 85%, the 42 to 43 out of every 100, and if we nurture those relationships, and if we own that data, then you are going to build a business for the future. Every time I run this sort of training, I've always got the same story. And it's that, for example, a client joined our email list in April 2022 and randomly booked an appointment 2 years later. We've had no interaction, no engagement, and it's purely come off of building an email list. We had exactly the same thing on Monday. Inquiry went into the calendar because I send emails twice a month to my list. And he actually joined our list and spoke to the advisor back in 2021. 4.5 years pretty much. Sorry, 3.5 years pretty much for that person to get to a point where they've gone from the future to now. So this is the thing that has completely de-stressed my business, because our email list is the 3rd best source that we have when it comes to leads. So in order to create that, this is what we need to focus on overcoming. You can't build a business for the future if you don't overcome poor systems and processes. Now, we've gone through an agricultural age where, they used to push machines down the fields to plow them. And then the tractor came along and made it happen way more efficiently. We then went into the industrial age where they started to utilize machines, and it was steam, and then it went into electric, and, all that stuff happened. And everything through the years has got fundamentally faster and quicker. I'm sure all of you, I've got 4 kids under 12, my children, my 2 eldest, pretty much watch YouTube shorts all the time. We don't allow them any other social medias at the moment, but I watch them sitting there just fast scrolling, watching 60-second clips. If you're like me, you buy things on Amazon and it's like 1-click purchase. People want things fast. So AI has been a huge game changer when it comes to business, automation, systemization, saving time. And it's a wave that is now something that you have to start riding. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind in terms of how this stuff works. So it saves time. Automation and AI together saves time. It reduces manual errors. It creates consistency in your lead generation, makes it predictable, gives you effective client follow-up. Because put into the chat now, put a number for me. When you get a lead and you have a conversation with the person, how many times do you typically follow up with that individual after? Be honest, this is a safe space, all that kind of stuff. 2, 3, 4. One of my highest level clients I told off yesterday, by the way, at my mastermind, because she said, I don't follow up with them at all. If they want to use me, then they will keep coming back. They will come back to me. I'm like, we had a bit of a back and forth off of that, having worked with me for a very long period of time. But you can see the numbers in here, guys. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is a study that's been done by a large tech provider in marketing. They have done research, and it takes on average 6 attempts to follow up to get somebody to do business. That's from researching across multiple different industries. People are busy, and it's those that follow up the most that get the kickback. So when it comes to that, you'll see in a second, it's really important that you have this automation, which could be a person, but it can also be technology. For example, I've automated my social media posting to Kiefer on my team. Kiefer has automated it to our system to do that posting. It frees up your time, means you can work on higher impact areas, and it means that you've got follow-up and nurture to look after those inquiries.
So I hope you enjoyed that little cut from that free training. Now I'm going to be delivering this again in Q1 of January. So what you must do is go down to the show notes, click on the description, and get yourself on the waiting list for that event. It's 90 minutes, including Q&A. The delivery of the training is only 60 minutes, and I promise you, the time that you spend with me on Zoom getting that education will absolutely transform 2025 for you and make it your best year ever. So click that link right now and get on the waiting list for the training in Q1.